suspect will happen is at some point there's going to be a committee hearing where they're going to put it on the table, examine the pros and cons, discuss about what the idea would look like if it were to come into play, but we're not anywhere close to that yet.
What significant changes would you like to see put in place to help strengthen two communities that make up Cambridge?
Yeah, so that's a big part of what we work on day to day. The problem I think that we face nowadays is that everyone is just so extremely busy. Everyone has a ton on their plate, everyone has a ton of commitments, and getting involved with your city in a civically takes a lot of time. It's just one more thing. The reality is, what I've seen in the different neighborhoods throughout Cambridge that have really been able to come together, they really put in the time. They meet week after week or every other week. They have not just a reaction to anything that might be come up, but they really think ahead and they think about what are the things that might come up in our neighborhood, what are some of the issues that we can be proactive on, and come to consensus as a neighborhood about what the solution we want to see is. They do that, and then it's fantastic because afterwards they're able to come with one voice to the city council and say, we've thought a lot about this issue, we've had the debates, we've weighed the pros and cons, and this is what we would like to see done for our neighborhood. And as a city councilor, it's really easy to get behind that and say, wow, you really have put in a ton of time thinking about this, love to help out and get involved. So the problem is, not every neighborhood has a core group of people who are willing to put in that extreme amount of time organizing, putting together the agendas, driving to consensus. I really wish we could find a way for more neighborhoods to be able to do that, to get skilled at that kind of community building event, because it really helps knit together a community. It really helps have a community think proactively about what it wants to look like in the future, what are the problems that it faces, how can they address them. So I think that's one thing I would like to see is, and I'm not sure I have the answer about how do other communities start to piece this all together. As far as the broader Cambridge communities, I really have been using a lot of technology, pushing out the ability for residents to interact, pay bills online with credit cards, report potholes from their iPhones. I put my cell phone on my website, so if people have any questions, they can come and call me. I want to make it easier for communities to get engaged with their city government, to try and have that conversation and that relationship, and the kind of ongoing relationship that makes it really easy when problems do come up to quickly solve them and to have that trust established. I try to go out and encourage people to just stay in touch with me as much as possible. I encourage that to everyone who's watching now. But I think that it's challenging because life is getting busy, life is getting hectic, and everyone needs to carve a little bit of time out for their community, for their civic engagement, to make sure that we can continue to nurture what we love best about Cambridge and make sure that we can try to grapple some of the challenges that we have.
How do you think about children?
What do you mean, children?
Like, how much do you care about children?
Oh, extremely. I love kids. I don't have any though.
How do you think about the seniors?
Yeah, love the seniors as well. All the different communities, I think the diversity of Cambridge is what really makes it a special place to live. The fact that we have students, the fact that we have families with young kids, that we have seniors, that we have just a wide range of people living in Cambridge, all right close to each other, interacting with each other. That diversity, I think, is a real strength of Cambridge and something that makes it such a special place to live. And that said, each of those individual groups in Cambridge, we all have the same challenges. We're all trying to get where we're going to go. We want to make sure that we don't get run over by a car or a bicycle, but they all have individual challenges as well. So I try to work as much as I can with each of the individual community groups that come to me and that I can go out and reach out to make sure that Cambridge is working for everybody.
How do you think about the jobless people right now? People losing job?
Yeah, it's really problematic. It's less so here than it is across the country. The reality is we live in a bit of a bubble in Cambridge because housing prices have continued to go up. The unemployment rate is below 5%. We're almost at full employment here in the city of Cambridge. Yet there are a lot of people that are struggling, that are really trying, that have not been able to find work. One of the challenges, so I guess across the nation it's been even worse. Cities are laying off fire and police. There are people that haven't been working for years and years. Their home prices their home is worth less than they paid for it. So we have, when you think about it, the challenges we have here are less in scope, are in magnitude than what a lot of communities across the country are facing. We need to be really thankful for that. But the flip side of that is that because we are better off than everyone else, it's more incumbent upon us to make sure that we take care of the people that are still struggling in our community, that we put the resources where they need to be put to make sure that we can help the people that really most need our help. In Cambridge and in Massachusetts, one of the challenging things is that there's actually more jobs available, more companies looking to fill positions than there are people who are looking to get into jobs. That doesn't make any sense, right? How can there be more job openings than there are people looking for jobs? Well, the problem is the people that are looking for jobs are looking for very specific, people that have certain degrees or qualifications or skill sets. A lot of times the people that are still looking for work are the people that have been looking for work continuously and unable to find employment, and they don't necessarily have the skills to fit in those positions. What we need to do as a Commonwealth, this is something that's a bigger problem than Cambridge alone, is figure out how to give those people that haven't been able to find work the skills that they can use to get into jobs, and then also give the skills to people that are in the jobs and training and opportunities through colleges or programs to move up and fill those other positions. So we can start creating a pipeline from people to have jobs, to entry-level jobs, to managerial jobs, to all the way up and down the chain. It's a huge challenge, which Massachusetts is not alone in facing. But I think given the resources that we have here, the universities, the community colleges, the infrastructure, the relative prosperity compared to a lot of other states across the United States, it's something that we really should be doing more as a state to try and tackle. The last thing I'll say is that I've been hearing a lot about the homeless and the challenge is that Massachusetts doesn't invest enough in homeless housing and shelters, and not just shelters, because people go and live can go and stay in a shelter for a night, but that doesn't provide the kind of stability for somebody to get off the streets and to start go and find a job, make sure that they can show up washed and well rested and ready to work. What we need to do is invest more in housing programs that can get people off the street and give people the kind of stability that they need to really put their lives together. This all, I think, escalated a bunch of years back under the Robbie administration for the state. The funding for homeless shelters and homeless housing was cut. Well, when you cut the funding for housing for homeless, where do you think the people go? They go back to the streets. And so I really think that if you want to make sure that we're taking care of the homeless, the best way to do that is to start putting money behind these programs that can help get them off the streets and get them to being self-sufficient and productive employed members of our society. So it's a very complicated system of issues. It's all interrelated. In the end of the day, we need to put our money where our priorities are. Cambridge does more than most any other community across the Commonwealth. We have tons and tons of shelters and programs for homeless people to try and give them that toehold that they need to get ahead in life. We have more. We max out the amount of affordable housing that we can build. We do a lot to try and provide those stepping stones to help people start recontributing to the economy. I think that shows that the benefit of that shows in the fact that Cambridge has one of the best economies in the state, if not the nation. I think everywhere should be really following our model. That said, it's an ongoing problem. It's the kind of thing where you're never done. You're always looking for how can you do better, how can you improve. That's what makes, honestly, my work as a city councillor so gratifying, is you're always looking for these new solutions to try and do more and do better and better help more people.
How long do you need to work every day?
Oh, it's long. The day-to-day differs. We have council meetings, we have committee meetings, I have neighborhood meetings that go oftentimes till 9, 10, 11 at night. I'm up early in the morning, like to go for a jog early in the morning, and then we usually have a breakfast meeting, and then it's crazy.
What are the motivations for you to work in the council?
Yeah, the motivation for me to public service is, I grew up, my father was immigrated here from China, and actually immigrated to Cambridge in the summer of 1969. What he found here was just so unique and different from what he had known in China that he brought the whole family back to China every few years so I can go and see cousins and go and see how lucky I was that he brought us here. And one of the things I remember as a child was talking with my cousins about the government that I'd been learning in school and Mao Zedong, and why do you have a picture of Mao Zedong on the mantle? Didn't he ruin the country? And just being a kind of whippersnapper kid that just was always prodding a little bit. But I remember that they couldn't talk about that kind of thing, and they didn't know about some of the events that happened in Chinese history that I had learned about here in America. And I realized that the America is very unique because we have the freedom of expression. You can go and you can complain about what your city councillor or politician are doing. You don't really have that freedom in China. If you go out and you start making too much noise, you can wind yourself in jail, you can lose your job, you have to worry about what's going to happen to you. Here, that's just an extremely powerful thing. It's also extremely powerful is that anybody has the ability to run for public office. And the fact that we have a system of government for the people, by the people, of the people, only works if the people show up to participate. And it's incumbent upon everybody, every American citizen, that if they want to perpetuate our American system, if they want to maintain our values, if they want to help feed, the system only works if the people participate. So everyone needs to participate. And I grew up just thinking about how the fact that because of the privilege of living in America, it's a requirement that you get involved and you serve your community in whatever way you can, whether that be through public office or just civic engagement. So that's why I'm so passionate about I love my job as in public office, because it's a great way to just give back, and I think it's just something that you need to do if we want to keep the freedoms and the liberties that we have.
What is your current focus right now?
My current focus right now, I've been doing a lot in terms of economic development and job growth and job creation since I got into council. I was lucky enough to receive an Eisenhower Fellowship earlier this year. I'm going to Germany in September, and I'll be looking at strategies that they've implemented to try and create jobs and rebuild their manufacturing base and create clusters of companies and grow organically and use renewable energy and build cities, because they've rebuilt Eastern Germany in a sustainable way. And I'm going there I've had the opportunity to go and look at some of the solutions that they brought to their communities and see what I can learn to try and bring back here.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much for spending your...
You did a great show. And I have a show.
This is something new, the Casper Slide Part 2, featuring the Platinum Band. And this time, we're gonna get funky.